You're listening to Your Purpose and Business podcast, where we connect you to possibilities. I'm your host, Raquel Walters, a two-time best-selling author, millennial speaker, corporate trainer, advocate, and clinical social worker at heart. Your Purpose and Business podcast will connect you with everyday successful people who will share their impactful stories, insights, challenges, failures, and triumphs on how they're navigating the working world, whether by climbing the 9-to-5 corporate ladder or starting, growing, and scaling their business. So grab your pen and notebook because you'll want to implement the nuggets and tools, strategies shared in every episode. Class is in session. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Purpose and Business podcast. And I'm here with Dr. Wayne Abrams. So Dr. Wayne Abrams is a board-certified emergency physician who practiced for 17 years until he retired to start his second chapter. He now works for his family and himself by making his money work for him. He lives on passive income from his investments, and his passion is to teach about passive income and breaking the cycle of generational poverty in communities of color. He believes that the lack of financial education in brown communities is one of the root causes of our generational poverty. Mission in life is now to educate all on the importance of financial intelligence. Dr. Abrams, welcome to Your Purpose and Business podcast.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here on the Your Purpose and Business podcast. So let's dive right into it. I tend to ask my guests to share something about themselves that's not included in your beautiful bio. What would you want to share with us all?
Well, I would say I love fishing. Ever since I kind of started getting involved with it, I realized this is very relaxing. So I have my children go out with me. I'm not an expert, but I love it. Even when we go on vacation, I love to just, take a tour and just go fishing. I enjoy it.
Nice. That's amazing. That you like to enjoy fishing. And I think that also, makes you feel more connected to nature, right? And also as a way of your own wellness routine, right?
Absolutely, because life is stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And, you need to decompress. So whether it's fishing, I love to work out, exercise. So those opportunities really give you the opportunity to enjoy life, because we spend a lot of time and hours always doing the quote unquote adult responsible thing. Sometimes you gotta let your hair down. I don't have any hair, but
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So you're on a Your Purpose and Business podcast, and I love to ask everyone this question, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. It's a big one. But Doctor, what purpose do you think you have in this world?
Well, first of all, you can call me Wayne, but that's a good question. What purpose do you have in this world? I would say, if you take it biblically and the utmost purpose, that question was asked in Ecclesiastics. Like, what is my purpose? What is the meaning of all this? Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. I think it was King Solomon that said it. He said, "Fear God and keep His commandments." So that's our ultimate purpose. I think for me as well, right, is to give God the glory. But when you take it down to another level, I think my purpose is to be a teacher. Essentially, I think that's what I am. I think I am a teacher. I'm supposed to teach first myself. I got to teach my wife. I got to teach my family. I got to teach. So that's what I do. Whether it's how to do your mathematics homework, or whether it's how to do a bench press correctly so you don't strain your muscle, whether it's how to do push-ups, how to handle your money. I think I'm a teacher.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that answer to your purpose and how you tied it in biblically as well. I mean, there's a famous saying that says leaders are teachers. Leaders are teachers, and so therefore you are a leader. And so take us on a summarized journey, if you may, on what led you to your purpose. Like you're board certified emergency physician who recently retired. What Take us back, if you will. What led you into wanting to become a medical doctor?
Okay, so that's a good question. So if I was to think back as a little boy, go way back in Jamaica, my initial goal was to be an airline pilot. And if we go even before that, I am from you'd call it disadvantaged background, the typical single mother, um, poverty, you know, working hard, domestic work, nobody to help you. If you don't do it, it will not get done. So just typical poor background. So as anybody who's from a background, the ultimate goal is to get out of it. So whether it's LeBron James to sign the big contract, whatever it is, I just want to buy my mother a house. I want to do this. So in my 7, 8-year-old brain, like, what can I do? Initially, it was to be an airline pilot. They seem to travel a lot. They seem to have money. They seem to have no lack or no need. And then, I get at school, I began to realize I was good at science and math, and I was a good student. So, I started thinking, well, maybe I could be a doctor.
Yes, yes. Wow, wow. So what was the pivot for you at that time, if you remember, from no longer wanting to be that pilot, right? And then also entering medical school.
Um, so I think probably what led me away from being an airline pilot was the fear of crash. Like realizing that, well, sometimes they crash and they die. But I guess looking back, I realized that academics was going to be the path for me. Because the way I look at it is, it's either going to be inheritance, like, you chose the right family and they just happen to be well off and you're in that line, you will inherit. Or in the US, or you have a talent, you're an actor, you can sing, or you're 7 foot tall, or you're very athletic. It's going to be something that people will pay money to see you perform. I can't sing, I can't do this. These things they realize in your category, since you have no inheritance, since you have no singing, acting, or anything flashy, you're going to have to do it the hard way. And the hard way is going to be to study and get good grades and get a good job and take care of yourself.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And if you could speak to, your background. I know you mentioned that you grew up in Jamaica. I did as well. And we know that, education is pushed a lot because, our parents, grandparents, the theme is that, or the encouragement is education the way to level up in society as well as for the monetary gains as well.
If I could speak to what you're saying, there was a push, and I agree with you, to get as much as you can. Because a lot of times it's coming from people who never had the opportunity to get it, whether it's your mom, your grandmom, I didn't get it. That's part of the reason why life is so hard for me. So what I want for you is for you to get it. So it won't be as hard for you. So I would say, yes, absolutely. That was pushed on me. And I took it with, I took it no problem. I excelled at it. I was able to do well in it. But as you get older and you realize, like, I am running and I'm getting on this race, but where am I going to? I know what I was told.
Yes.
I was told that if you're on the dean's list and you're on first honors, second honors, whatever criteria, valedictorian, salutatorian, whatever criteria they say, just excel, and life will be good for you. You have to realize people, they don't know what they don't know. So they weren't lying to you. They're telling you, this is what I believe, this is what I think, and I want to give you good advice. And so, I don't blame them, but I realize that, we all have blind spots, so they have blind spots as well. They were telling you certain things, and, not to realize that, the rules are really not what you think they are,
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great answer too, because it all goes back to belief systems, and each
Absolutely.
culture has their different belief system based on, what they're experiencing, right? And so I loved your answer. A lot of our parents, ancestors didn't know, a lot. They only knew what they knew at that time.
Absolutely.
So for a lot of people, they pursue careers based on what their parents or loved one wanted for them, and
Hmm.
then sometimes it works out, and unfortunately, a lot of times, you get a particular education and you realize this is not what I want, which is fine.
Sure.
And I think that especially millennials is the research just showed that millennials are at least the leading in terms of the census right now in society. Millennials in the workplace, there's a study from Forbes that says by year 2022, 75% of the workforce will be filled with millennials. And as a millennial myself, speaking to you, I wanted to get from you, what do you think is the importance of living out or pursuing your multi passions? Because years ago, decades ago, those were things that were often shied upon.
Sure. I am 100%
Mhm.
behind that,
Yeah.
because a lot of times, even now, you look in the recent past, you look at your maybe your parents, grandparents,
Mhm.
and how they gave 40 years,
Mhm.
consistent, good employees, you know, employee of the month, never late, wearing it as a badge of honor. And yeah, in times past, yeah, you would get, the pension and all this stuff. But as time went on now, then the businesses are like, well, we need to cut costs. You got to, support your own 401k. You don't contribute, guess what? We don't have to match. Or we are downsizing. We're transferring a job to Mexico, or we get whatever it is. Your um, consistency or your loyalty is really not rewarded. So they see, listen, mom worked 40 years, she didn't get anything, they turn, so why should I do what she did or do what my dad did to have them stab me in the back? No,
Mhm.
I am going to switch job. As soon as I get the skills at this job, 2, 3 years, that's going to enable me to level up or to go into open marketplace and I'm leaving. I have no loyalty to this job, just like they have no loyalty to me.
Right.
So I have no problem. I'm a big proponent of the FIRE movement, where they
Mhm.
talk about the FIRE,
Yes.
financially independent, retire early, and these people are on a rampage. I mean, they are saving 50, 60%, and they say, I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to let you dictate to me. So you're going to spend the most productive years of your life working and slaving for me, and then when your arthritis and your diabetes and your COPD begin to act up, and you have no more quality, now you're going to retire. Now, what am I going to do now? I'm 65. I can't ever breathe. But what am I going to do?
Right.
So they say, no, I'm going to invest hard for 10 years, and then I'm going to build up a nice nest egg, and then I'm going to live off that. So
Mhm.
I completely support these millennials saying, you know what, if it's my passion, I'm going to go for it. And a lot of people in this recent pandemic, if I might add, staying home, they realize I give a lot of time to my job.
Yes.
I miss out on a lot of opportunities with my children, with the commute, with the back and forth, the hours. You realize I miss a lot, and for what?
Right.
COVID could take me out in no time, and then just realize that quality of life counts for a lot.
Mm-hmm. And you said a lot there, and I so appreciate you for your comments right there. You spoke about the FIRE movement. That's a new term for me. So I would say that. But if you could speak more to that, is it the FIRE movement you said?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So by moving where I just recently started learning about it, and it so shocked me, right? Because growing up, when think about all the commercials you've seen, whether it's Northwestern Mutual, whether it's Fidelity, whether it's Vanguard or Principal, they all have the white hair, gray hair couple. And then behind the desk is the financial professional with the suit. And so, with the Fidelity of the green line, we're going to show you the path. So linked in our brain is that retirement is an age, right?
Yes.
65 for men and 62 for women. But I read a great book by his last name is Hogan. He's part of the Dave Ramsey team, and it said retirement is not an age; it's a number. I said, what? Retirement is not an age; it's a number. Is Michael Jordan retired? Yes, he is. Is he 65? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And when you begin to think about, when Serena Williams retired, will she be 65? No, far from it. As you begin to think about retirement, you realize retirement is at the time when you stop working because you have enough money. You can live off your assets. And I'm not talking about Social Security, right? And as I begin to think about it, I said, well, we're not athletes. We're not movie stars. Can we retire before 65? And then I started coming across FIRE, financially independent from what? Financially independent from my job. What do you mean? I don't depend on my job to give me a paycheck every 2 weeks. How is that even possible? And then you begin to read and they say, well, they tell you to save 10% for 40 years. That's okay. But we flip it upside down. We'll save 40% or even 50% or even 60%. And we do that for 10 years. And when you begin to realize and they have all the math and the numbers down, and you're like, is this possible? How are you going to save so much? Well, first of all, we have made a decision. And that entails we're going to have to say no to certain things. You can't yes to everything, right? When you say yes to something, you're saying no to something, right? When you say yes, I will eat out dinner every day of the week, you're saying no to retiring in your 40s. You might not think about it, but you are. You are. When you say I will get a new car every 3 years, when you say I don't want a 2-year-old car, I want a brand new car. When you said I want a heated steering wheel and I want this and I want that, you're saying no to retiring early. So when I heard about financially independent, and to retire early is debatable. So a lot of people say even after I was financially independent, it goes back to what you're saying. My passion was driving me. I still wanted to volunteer. I still wanted to teach. I still want to do what your passion. But I'm just retiring from being forced and mandated to do a job that I may not want to do. And not everybody hates their job. So I'm not trying to portray that. But there's a lot of people who, that's why when you even look at the lottery winners, when they say, okay, they won $650 million, $500 million, whatever, and they don't show up to work Monday. Some people show up to work on Monday. But my point is that a lot of people are doing jobs that they don't want to do only because they have no choice. They need the money. So it's a movement. I believe it's like gaining in popularity. The one thing though, where a lot of people I don't know if they put it down, but they have like they look that not look down. I would say they look and say, well, it's okay for them. They're all computer engineers. They're all high income earners. They're all attorneys. I can't do it on my salary. But I don't believe that's actually true. Because if you look at it like in a percentage form, but yeah, just take the concept. Don't look at the actual absolute number. Take the concept. Yeah, he's saving $5,000 a month, but don't look at the absolute number. Look at the percentage. He's saving 40%, or he's saving 50%. So take 40% of your number. Take 50% of your number, right? If your housing is 50% of your take home, it's going to be hard, right? If your housing where you live is taking half of your money, and then your car is taking another, so just use the percentage, right?
So would you say it's not about how much you make, even though you have to make a little bit more, but in terms of like context, but it's not how much you make, but it's how much you spend, and is how you live, the lifestyle as well, right?
Absolutely, because I believe you could have two people making the same income, whatever number you want to use, and you say, okay, how is they able to do so much? Because like they said, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? So if you're making, let's do a round number, $100,000 a year. Two people, you're both making $100K a year. But this person who's making 100K a year, let's say $95,000 is being, let's make it monthly.
Yes.
One person 10,000 a month. Yeah, because we financially we live in a monthly mentality.
Yes.
One person making 10, they're both making 10,000 a month. But this person making 10,000 a month, his rent or mortgage is 5,000. That's 50%. His car payment, say 1,000. That's 6,000. His kids go to private school, 7,000, maybe 7,500. And as you keep going and go, you realize the discretionary income, because we didn't mention he goes out to dinner on a regular basis and all these things. And out of the 10,000, what might be left might be $500. And you take another person who's also making 10,000 a month, and this person, instead of 5,000 on a living expense, is only 2,000. And when you go down the line, you realize he may have 4,000 of discretionary income. That means he can invest $3,000 per month. And this other person has nothing to invest. You see, that's what I'm talking about, right? This person may be on the FIRE movement that's have 3,000 left over, what they call cash flow after the expenses. And the cash flow for the other person may be next to nothing.
Right. And it's so important that you broke it down that way for our listeners. I wanted you to speak to Dr. Abrams about the cash flow that you just spoke about.
Just call me Wayne.
Wayne, I'm sorry, Okay, Wayne, thank you for that permission. But I want you to speak about once someone starts budgeting their money, looking at the big picture, seeing where they can scale back, maybe sending back that car that they're financing, probably buying something cheaper that they don't have to pay a car note on, for instance.
Sure.
Looking at their spending habits when it comes on to eating out, partying, etc. Once you're able to sort of have a system set up where you're able to budget and consistently stick to that budget, and you have that cash flow, where does the passive income come into play? Because I do know that you teach about passive income, and how can people invest, and you can share your ways and tips around that, so that they can start having that passive income where their money is making money for them without them being there. That sleep money that a lot of people call it, that sleep money. Yes.
That is excellent. Let me go back and say that and this also goes back to education, right?
Yes.
When we are grown up, we say, put your money in the bank. That's what we've been taught.
Yes.
When you look at the actual interest rate that you're getting, right? We're talking about less than 1%. I mean, we're talking the big banks, 0.00. It's so many zeros, it's ridiculous, 0.001. The bottom line is your money is not doing anything. Even the high interest online banks, like the Ally banks and other, even those are probably 0.6%. The bottom line is that money is sleeping and doing nothing. So in terms of what you're talking about, passive income, which is basically what you have to get to the point, right? I would say what I like is dividend stocks. Dividend stocks are basically stocks from usually more mature companies that they use some of the excess earnings and they pay out to stockholders. So you can have a company like, say, Coca-Cola that pays a 3% dividend, or Pepsi, McDonald's. These are companies and names that basically they're ubiquitous. We see them all over the place. We're like, yeah, I know McDonald's. You can invest. You can be a part owner in that. Actually, yeah. And even things like something as simple as that. You're like, really? Yes, you can. Because we know it as from one aspect, a consumer.
Right.
We go in and we say, give me the number 3. But do you realize that you could also be an owner? I didn't know that. See, and that's what I'm talking about, the education aspect. So you'll get a brokerage account through M1, Vanguard, and it's a brokerage. And you go and you fill up all the questions, your name, your social security number, all that stuff. And you're able to link your checking account and begin to buy shares of company. And the bigger your share count is the bigger your dividend. A quick example, say something like Home Depot, that's paying you, $1.65 per share every 3 months. And you're like, $1.65, man? I can't do nothing with that. You're joking.
It adds up. Mm-hmm.
But that's one share.
Mm-hmm.
What about the guy that has 10 shares? He's getting $16.50. What about the guy that has 100 shares? He's getting $165. You know what? And then what happens? Your mind begins to really expand, right? I'll give you a quick example that shows that the way to go is ownership. Ownership is the way to go. Owning dividend stocks or stocks in general, you're part owner of the company.
Right.
You look at a company like Coca-Cola, where the CEO, I looked at a podcast the other day, but the CEO of Coca-Cola is probably making, I don't know, probably $20 million. And you're like, that's a lot of money. Yes, that's a lot of money. But now look at this, and I'll put you in perspective. Warren Buffett is probably the biggest shareholder of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola paid 41 cents a share. Peanuts.
Yes. But
Warren Buffett owns 400 million shares. Mm-hmm. It comes to, I think, $164 million while he's sleeping every 3 months. Mm-hmm. $164 million every 3 months. Where the CEO is only making $20 million. You see, even though we look at the CEO and we want to bow down to them, right, they're actually an employee. Right. They are. The CEO is an employee of Coca-Cola. Warren Buffett is an owner. Yeah, he doesn't own 100%. He may own 5%, but that shows you. Yes. That shows you. So brokerage account. I did a video once that said, don't open a savings account for your child. Open a brokerage account.
Nice. I love it. And what are some other investments you could speak to, Wayne? Because in the market right now, cryptocurrency is a hot topic, even though cryptocurrencies has been developing since 5 years ago or so. What are your thoughts on that? And then you can also speak to other investments.
Sure. So what I do, and what everybody talks about, I don't invest in things I don't know about. Mm-hmm. So I know the hot rage is cryptocurrency, and I'm not going to invest in cryptocurrency. I'm not putting any of my money in that. What I do is I invest in things that I can understand. Yes. So things that I can understand are, burgers, McDonald's, Home Depot. People go in there to get their 2x4. Every time I go there, it's hard to get a spot in the parking lot. Pepsi, Johnson & Johnson, AbbVie. I invest in things that I understand, and I have confidence. And the reason why you may think, what's the big deal? Well, this is the big deal. When you don't have conviction, and you're fly by night, when things begin to get rocky, you say, oh man, let me sell. And you may sell at the wrong time when the market is low. But if you have conviction, for example, give a quick example. During the pandemic, all the travel stocks dropped, including Carnival, the biggest cruise line out there. I know Carnival was doing well, and I know they dropped for one reason, because of the pandemic. And and the quarantine, and that's why it dropped. But it also dropped from $50 a share down to as low as $8 a share, because I have confidence that people are going to want to travel again, and they're going to get back after the vaccine. I bought as much as I could because I used it as a buying opportunity. Right. Like, wow, this doesn't happen every day. From $50 to $8, I'm going to buy as much as I can. So if it was something that I didn't have conviction in, I'd probably say, let me sell. And to add to the end of your other question about other things, real estate. Mm-hmm. Absolute real estate. There's a quote that I like from there's a blog I listen to sometime. Black Millionaires of Tomorrow, I believe. I forgot his name. But he said, the American economic system is like a horse and jockey. And when I heard that, he said, it's like a horse and jockey. He said, when you look at a horse race, the horse does all the work, but who gets all the credit? The jockey. They get they get the interviews, they get the money, they're on the magazine. He said the horse might get maybe an apple, some oats, and some hay. Go back to the barn, and that's how it is too. He looks at, and the example he gave was renters and landlords. One of them has the owner. One of them is getting equity, and one of them is just basically spending money to live there for the next 30 days, the next 30 days, and the next 30 days. And when it's all said and done, the owner has an asset that he can pass on to his heirs for inheritance. And the person has a lease, which is all they have. And they own nothing. And when you look at it, all he did was put down the down payment, maybe 25%. He got a mortgage using OPM, other people's money. And then he used the tenants' money, other people's money, to pay back the mortgage. I mean, when you look at that system, not to mention all the tax breaks, and you're like, wow, horse and jockey, I got it.
Yes.
So real estate is absolutely a killer.
And especially now in today's society, even more than ever, multiple income streams are essential. It's really a must to have that. Gone are the days that we should only be relying on one income, whether that's a business or just a 9 to 5 job. I mean, I think it was Warren Buffett who says at that time it was seven income streams are important, and it's probably the number is probably even up now, right? So speak to multiple income streams if you
Yeah,
will.
no, absolutely. And sometimes when you're either open, you realize, how come I didn't see this before? Not that it wasn't there. I'm gonna give you a quick Bible story.
Yes.
And so the story, I think, is in maybe first or second Kings, where Elijah is with his assistant. I don't think they gave his name. And they're being attacked by like an enemy army, and they're in the mountains. And the young man said to Elijah that almost like, it's over now. We're gonna die. And then Elijah prayed to God to open the eyes of the young man. And then after God opened the young man's eyes, he saw horses and chariots, or like, angels, innumerable angels with flames. And they were always there, but he didn't have the spiritual maturity to see it. And so it is with like the multiple income stream of really opening your eyes to realize, wow, I really have a lot of confidence in my employer that they're not gonna fire me, not gonna downside, that I can cut my salary. I really have a lot of faith and confidence, or stupidity, whatever word you want to use, that I'm gonna entrust my entire financial existence. One email, one, I need to speak to you in the office. One, the company has decided to go in another direction. Whatever you want to call it, one pink slip away from financial ruin. If you think about it, I remember maybe about a year ago when there was a government shutdown, and all the government employees who worked for TSA, and they couldn't pay their mortgage, and they couldn't do this, and you see how their world was crumbling down because 100% of their income came from their job. And I know we all do it. And we think, well, it's normal. Yeah, it may be normal, but it's not smart. And you're absolutely correct. Multiple income stream. So if you have your W-2 job, that's one stream. And if you have your dividend income, that's another stream. If you have bonds, that's another stream. If you have real estate, rental income, that's another stream. If you wrote a book, you're getting royalties, that's another stream. If you have your ETFs, or you have your index fund. I mean, so there are opportunities out there for us to let our money work for us. But if you're consistently giving it away, when I look at, they say your income is your greatest wealth building tool. And the analogy I use is, it's seeds. Your income is like seeds, right? So if you're getting seeds, you're getting paid your seeds every 2 weeks. And you take them and you give some to your landlord, you give some to your insurance company, you gotta pay the water, the cable, you gotta pay the insurance, you gotta pay the kid. You say you're giving your seeds away, right? And you have nothing to plant. What do you have to do? I gotta wait for 2 more weeks. And that's what we do. But if you say, okay, I got my seeds, whatever it is, I got 100 seeds. I'm gonna take 10 of them or 20 of them. I'm gonna put it in the ground. I just won't go out to eat as much. I'll pack my lunch or whatever. I won't buy that expensive car, right? There's an average car payment in the US is like $550 a month.
Very true.
If you take that amount of money and put it in an index fund, growing at like 8% for 30, 40 years, you're probably gonna be a millionaire. But we don't think about that. We think about, I wanna impress people that don't even like you.
Very true. No, very true. And when you've been dropping a lot of gems here, we call it hashtag gems here in the Your Purpose and Business podcast. And especially for our minority communities, that these are things that is not taught, financial literacy. And that's why even more we need, personal financial teachers like yourself who have gone through the process, who have sort of broke the code and is heavily invested and is advocating for multiple income streams and is teaching us that we need to start investing right away. It's very important.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, go ahead.
I do, absolutely, because like my kids, they're in school and they're studying and everything, and like I said, I wasn't taught any of this. So I said, what's gonna happen? The cycle will be repeated. So they will learn Latin. I don't know who they're gonna speak Latin to. Maybe a priest. They're gonna learn American history. They're gonna learn, and I'm not saying nothing's wrong with these things, but I said, let's get back to what I said. At the core, I'm a teacher. So I said, you know what? You talk a lot, but it's now time for you to put up. So I said, the schooling can teach it, man. Nobody can teach. So what are you gonna do? So for the last 8 weeks, every Saturday.
Yes.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and 2 hours, I go through it. The next one that my wife just got from Amazon, we're gonna spend time on The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh, nice. I've heard about it. I need to get that book, but I've heard about it. Yes.
So it's one of those things where I realize it won't get done. So don't think, well, that was when you were in school. Things have changed. No, it has not. It has not. You better do it. Like a lot of people say, if you want something to be done, you better do it yourself. So I'm doing it myself. So I'm teaching them, I'm teaching them about assets. Definition of asset. Something as simple as that. What is an asset? Something that put money in your pocket. I got to teach you examples of assets, examples of liabilities, passive income. So all these things that paying yourself first. So just some basic concepts that if a lot of us had that foundation, things would have been different. When human resource said, okay, this is the 401k option to invest, and you're looking, you're like, what is a whatever, and you don't know. No, you don't know. What is a Vanguard high yield, blah blah blah. You don't know. But if you're learning, I'm just looking. Do you have an index fund option? Like you have a base. My dad told me the index fund is very cheap and I'm broadly diversified. I should probably use that. So you think you won't be getting it outside, you're gonna get it inside.
Right. I love it. And shifting gears a little bit, Wayne, we do appreciate the lessons that you're dropping here in the Your Purpose and Business podcast. And definitely, guys, I want you to share this podcast with all of your network, comment your takeaways. But shifting gears a little bit, can you share any advice or recommendation that has supported you on your path and that has helped you to maintain focus on your goals?
Advice that I've gotten to keep myself motivated
and focused.
Well, I'd say keeping myself educated. That's one thing. I realize that it is my responsibility to educate myself. They say you're the average of the 5 closest people around you.
Yes.
So if you're broke, you probably hang around broke people. They're probably not going to have too much to teach you about getting out of poverty, about passive income. So if you're not if you don't encircle yourself with people winning with money, the only other option for you is to read and listen to them. So I keep myself very educated on something as simple as taxes. I realized, I don't know a lot about taxes. So I started reading books on taxes. And when you get, what I realized is that when you're more educated, you ask more educated questions, and people who do know are more likely to help you and to give you additional information. You know what you're saying is correct. Like, for example, you lead with, I know that when we have a rental property that, this is deductible and this is deductible, and you get to depreciate the cost of the house over 27.5 years. But what I don't know is this. So from listening to your question, they don't, well, he's done some basic research. You know what I'm saying? Let me give him this nugget. Let me point him to this book. Let me, you know what I'm saying? So I think keep yourself educated, and you get and in this day and age, it's very easy. You have people out there doing YouTube videos on real estate. Like one of the big ones is Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets, all they do is real estate. From a novice, you learn how to fund your deals. They'll basically just educate you. So, and with the education comes hope. That's what I really got. When you hear people saying she was a waitress with 2 kids, single mother, and now she has 5 duplexes. And you're like, wow. You know what I'm saying? You just, you realize it's hope. She can do it. He can do it. I can get myself educated. And also, if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to care about you more than you care about your own self. So education is definitely the key.
Definitely. So educate yourself, folks. Financial literacy is of utmost importance, and Dr. Wayne Abrams is here to guide you. So share with the audience, Dr. Wayne Abrams, how can persons contact you?
I do have a YouTube channel that I was doing. I've done a video for a while, but it's an MD Investor. So
MD Investor.
Yeah, MD Investor. There's probably about 100 videos there, and I go through like basically what we're talking about, almost like my journey.
Yes.
Right. The first video I did was things or mistakes I made that I wish I didn't, because I didn't know. Yeah. And I talk about my student loans, how I would have done this and that. So MD Investor is a good channel to get some basic financial education.
Definitely. And if persons wanted to reach out to you for some sort of consulting services, will they reach you? Do you have a website to share or email address you would want someone to contact you?
I don't have a website. I haven't got a website. I would just maybe on the MD Investor. Maybe on an MD Investor. That's what I would do. Maybe like leave a comment or something, and then I'll reach out that way.
Definitely. And please share your Instagram ID with us as well. Persons can DM him as well on Instagram for further information.
Yeah, I think the Instagram is at MD Investor 1.
Okay, and not to worry, folks. His information will be included in the show notes so that you can reach out to him. And I encourage everyone to go over and show some love to MD Investor on YouTube, where you'll be learning about his mistakes, but then it also teaches you how to be financially fit, financially well, so that you too can retire early. That is a desire goal of yours to start, generating passive income, because it is something that is very needed right now. And I think that especially for our minority communities, it is of utmost importance. So I want to thank you again, Wayne. And so in closing, I always ask my guests this, is there a ritual or routine that you partake in every day that just keep you on track just for your own well-being?
Every day at probably 5 o'clock in the morning, I go to the gym. Yes. I get up early, go to the gym. I spend time trying to meditate, just trying to, I try to thank God for the opportunity, because every day I realize it's another opportunity to get it right. And what I also realize too is that sometimes the struggle to get up the hill, you are, man, why is it so hard? And what I realize is that, the struggle makes you who you are. Mm-hmm. Just like going to the gym, it's the resistance of the weights against your muscle that makes them stronger. make them bigger, right? Without that, that's why when astronauts go to space and the gravity is only a sixth of what is on Earth, they get muscle atrophy.
Yes.
Why? Their muscle doesn't have that resistance, that fight. So you know, enjoy the journey. You know, I'm not looking for a destination where one day where my passive income will exceed my expenses. No, I'm gonna enjoy the journey that, you know, I decided I'm doing, and I'm gonna enjoy the journey.
Yes, I love that. Enjoying the journey. And so everyone, it's been a pleasure and an honor to have Wayne on the show tonight. And please definitely share this podcast with all your network. Definitely in the comments, let us know your thoughts. I know he would want feedback on this. And he has dropped major gems on us today. And so with that being said, thank you again, Dr. Abrams, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And remember, folks, as always, be good to yourself, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening. If you've loved this episode, let's stay in touch. Head over to RaquelWalters.com and subscribe to my email list so that I can send you updates on new episodes, exclusive motivational nuggets, and insider knowledge that's only shared when you join our community. Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review, as I want to know your thoughts about every episode. Follow me on Instagram at Your Purpose and Business Podcast. And remember, your life is beautiful, and this is a part of your journey. So embrace it. Speak to you soon.